Welcome to the third and final installation of this leg of the podcast. I am Jeff Spratt.
I'm Ryan Tukowski.
And this is the Jeff and Ryan Croatia podcast.
Adventure podcast thingy.
Yeah.
We didn't really have a name for it. The podcast, I think, is just going to be called Chatting It Up. I'm going to have some more people on after we depart. I know people are going to be pretty bummed. I know Spratt's a big reason why the podcast is a hit. He's an amazing storyteller, amazing person. Just super fun to have around. Have him being here, telling these stories, traveling around with. It's been fun. We've done a lot.
I think what we'll probably do is we'll both continue with the podcast, just not necessarily together. And then when we're actually face to face together, we'll continue with these like combined podcasts.
You're going to definitely be on. It's not going to be every episode. I know when I go back, I reached out to Reese. Reese, the Aussie, we've mentioned him a few times on this. He definitely wants to come on, tell a few stories. He's got stories for days.
Stories for days.
The man's been to 47 different countries, has seen a lot, done a lot. So pretty pumped to have him on. But yeah, we wanted to kind of recap the whole adventure. Basically starting from the first time that we've been on Split. I guess the first thing we had down was sending it in Split. I know that Spratt's actually been there before, so he knew this small little area where we can actually go cliff jumping. And if anyone follows me on Instagram, they've definitely seen the video of my epic backflip fail.
So funny.
Yeah, man. I don't know what I thought I didn't think I was as high as I was. And I was just sitting there. I'm like, oh, I got this, man. I'm going to send it. And if everyone has ever sent anything ever, and you kind of post up, kind of like just, I was standing right on the edge and just like waiting, kind of like in my head, I'm like, okay, just do this flip. You're probably about 10 meters up. I was probably about 10 meters up.
I mean, we'd met a bunch of cliff, they weren't actually cliff divers. They were rock climbers. They were climbing up that face of the rock. And so they were all watching Ryan with his back to the water, and nobody said anything, but we all realized that he was about to try a backflip, and he had stood there long enough that I knew that he'd committed to it, and he was just psyching himself up to like actually do it. And then one of the guys who was a rock climber was like, "Hey man, are you going to do a backflip?" And that was kind of
I just kind of look at him and I'm like, well, people have noticed I'm here now, so might as well just send it.
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah, anyone who's listening who wants to take a peek, just go to Rye Meets World. Did you post it to yourself?
No, I haven't.
Okay, so go to @Rye Meets World on Instagram, take a look, and have yourself a good chuckle.
Well worth
it.
Okay, then fast forwarding, we wanted to recap some things that we hadn't mentioned in the earlier podcast. So technically this had happened by the time we'd done the last podcast, but when we thought about it, we were like, we really should have mentioned the fact that when we were at, I forget the name of the bar again, and which is kind of sad because
the beach bar, yeah.
The beach bar in Bowl, you can't miss it. It's open until 1:00. It's definitely the party spot. Anyway, we were there, and I was at the bar ordering a drink, and this Croatian guy kind of rocked up, and I started talking to him a little bit, and he invited us onto our yacht, and the couple that we were with, it was on their honeymoon, we all went onto their yacht, and it was 11 Croatians, age ranged from like 17 to 21, were on this big yacht that they'd rented, and we met the skipper, and it was pretty much an even split of guys and girls.
The skipper was like a 20-year-old
kid, right? They were all really
super young.
But cool, very nice people. And it was funny, the reason we wanted to bring it up is that we actually ran into 3 of those guys when we were in Hvar, like having a coffee next to the harbor. So it was like another story that kind of just came full circle. And there's a saying in some cultures that you see everybody twice, and that was an example of that happening.
Pure example. The other people that we met in Hvar at the Shaka Hostel, where that Australian couple, were they both Australian? The travel bloggers?
Yes.
Okay.
She was, her parents were both Italian, so she was full-blood Italian, but both definitely Australian.
Yep. You need to go follow these people. It's We Live, We Explore. They got about like 36,000 followers.
32, something
like that.
They were, a lot of the videos I've been putting out are about meeting amazing people, and I wish we could have spent more time with them.
Yeah.
They were some of the coolest people not only that we met on this trip, they were some of the coolest people I have ever met. They've spent the last year, like the last summer, all year, and then this summer, traveling the world, blogging about their experiences. He's really into photography. She's really into fashion.
They review hostels.
They get sponsored by different places that will put them up and have them write about them, or even like wear some of their fashion lines. Like, they were incredibly interesting, cool people.
Sweet people, yeah.
So nice and down to earth and friendly.
Kirk and Mish, yeah. They were renting a moped when we initially met them to drive up all the way to the highest point on Havar to oversee the whole city, which was pretty dope. Actually took a bunch of cool pictures.
Very inspiring, meeting cool people that are like living their dream. Like, they were absolutely living the life they wanted to live by complete design.
Beautiful.
It was like, wow.
You want to talk about running into Bruno?
Yes, absolutely. So I did make a video about this on my Instagram, but Bruno was a filmmaker that I met in Zagreb when I was staying at the Swanky Mint, because he was actually making a film about the Swanky Mint, which turned out really well. He showed me an uncompleted version of it, and it was at least turning out really well. He's not quite finished with it. But he saw on my Facebook or Instagram that I was actually saw the video that Ryan and I made in Brach. And he was like, oh, Brach, I'm going to be in Brach. And I talked to him a little bit, and we figured out that our paths were going to cross and split. And he actually got off of his bus at like 4:45 in the morning. So I met, and that was yesterday, and we went to the Kirka National Park. We were going to leave for that trip at like 8:30. So it was just like unbelievable timing that I actually got to just wake up early, meet him at the bus stop, and spend a few hours with him before we went on a day trip of our own. Bruno, wow, what a cool guy. He's
filmmaker, right? You mentioned
he's a filmmaker, but he's honestly, he's a young guy who's already accomplished a lot with his life. He was already, had thousands of followers on YouTube by the time he was like 15 or 16. And he's just been living, that lifestyle ever since. And another guy that it's so cool to see someone living their dream and like doing things they're passionate about, and not, following the road less traveled essentially, and just living life by their rules and how they want to live it. So
yeah, I don't know, you mentioned
awesome guy.
Yeah, we were unfortunately we couldn't spend that much time with him because we were on our way to the Krka waterfalls, which you guys need to look this up. Just Google Krka waterfalls in Croatia. One of the most beautiful spots I've ever been to. We bought some bus tickets like on this tour. Who the tour guide was this quirky, just absolute sweetheart, hilarious girl, local girl from Croatia.
We'll finish the video that I started yesterday, because she's actually in the video a few times with her voice.
The 1 second video or the...
No. I'm going to put out an Instagram video, and we still have about 30 seconds on it. So we'll...
Yeah, she's going to be on there. She was hilarious. She was cracking jokes, and just her accent alone and her overall just being was hilarious, cracking us up all day.
She was
if I could pick one profession for her to be, tour guide.
That's it.
That's it. Like, she shouldn't be doing anything else.
No.
Hilarious. That was awesome. Yep, be on the lookout for that. We'll post some pictures and videos of that.
Okay, and there is one more thing we wanted to talk about, the biggest takeaway from the trip. But before we do that, is it worth mentioning the two events that happened last night, or should we just skip that?
We should probably mention it.
Okay,
oh my God, we gotta mention it.
So we were staying in the room with 3 other girls, and they actually, usually we're the ones that invite people to come with us. They invited us.
They did,
cool.
They invited us out for dinner.
Yeah, they're like, hey, what are you guys doing for dinner? We should get dinner. Okay, yeah, sounds great. One of the girls was traveling alone. She's from Canada. And Sarah. 2 of the girls were traveling together as friends. One was Canadian, one was Australian, but they both live in Australia. And anyway, we had a lovely dinner. We had a lovely conversation. Everything seemed to be a very normal night. There is a sign, like in many cities, where it says the name of the city.
But before this, we were finishing up dinner, and they were like, what do we feel like? One more cocktail? And me and Sprat kind of look at each other and be like, okay, like, we'll go out for one cocktail. Right. And I even said it after I said it. I'm like, I've realized that no one in the history of the planet has ever gone out for one cocktail and called it a night. So anyway, fast forward after maybe like 2 or 3 more cocktails.
It was one cocktail.
Oh, at that bar. Yeah.
We had a
before the
beer
store
or two
started.
with dinner. We went to a place, had one cocktail, and then we were going to go somewhere else. And that's when we saw the split sign, and she started swinging between the P and the L.
And right off the bat, she was like, "Oh my God, come take a picture. I'm trying to get up on this sign." I'm like, this sign doesn't really look structurally
Sturdy.
sound for you to get on it.
No,
But
it's not
she handed
it's
me
not
the
like in
phone.
Amsterdam when you can climb the sign and take pictures. It's not like that.
No.
It's like a jerry-rigged version of like steel that was rusty and crude. That was just kind of painted to make it
Painted
look
red,
nice.
yeah. So she gets on this thing and she kind of like props herself up between
It was
the
actually
L
between
and
the L and the I, yeah.
And she starts rocking,
Swinging.
and I'm kind of looking at the camera, looking at her, like snapping all these photos. And all of a sudden, she's like rocking forward, and as she rocks back, her momentum just carries her, and she just cracks down on this sign and like face plants. And I thought she just got the wind knocked out of her.
Now hold on. Let me give a few details because literally the dust flew up. She had dirt in her eyebrows. She had dirt all over her face. She had dirt in her teeth. She had dirt all over her clothes. And at first we were like, "Oh my gosh, are you okay?" Like, because we thought she had hurt her like face,
I thought she had like the wind knocked
upper
out
body.
of her. Yeah. But she
And
got up.
She got up, and everything seemed to be okay. And we were kind of having a chuckle because it was kind of a silly thing that had occurred. And
And everyone in the restaurant, there was like an outdoor seating, had just turned and just gasped. Yeah, it was, oh my God, it was hilarious. And then she came running up, and
well, she
instantly
did not come running up.
She came running
stood
up to me.
Yeah, well, okay.
Yeah, after she saw her leg, and it was
She
just
looked at her
gushing
leg. Her
blood.
leg had a hole in it.
A fucking, oh, sorry, I didn't mean, whatever. A huge gash, dude, like probably 3 to 4 inches wide.
Yeah, it was
I can
not-
see straight into her leg.
It was not good.
It was
What had happened
brutal.
is that the L on the bottom of Split, she had caught her leg on the L really hard, which was one of the reasons she face planted so bad because her legs were actually still propped up a little bit, so her upper body just like smashed into the ground. That was the least of her worries because her leg was in a state. Ryan, the sweetheart that he is, ended up going to the hospital with this girl. He took care of her.
I picked her up. So someone actually ran out to the restaurant, from the restaurant, with a first aid kit, kind of dressed her wound a little bit, and I just picked her up and walked her straight to the cab.
It wasn't even a question. Like nobody was even like,
well,
who's
the thing
going.
is, like,
Ryan would just like took control of the situation.
I've got stitches before. I've seen broken bones. I've seen people get gashes before, just like that. And you're fine as long as you dress the wound. You don't even have to get stitches that night. But the thing is, she was like freaking out because nothing has ever happened to her like this. And when girls freak out and start crying, like I start freaking out. I'm like, oh my God, like I just can't handle the scene. So like I wanted to go with her. I'm not going to let her go into a foreign hospital.
No one was gonna. We weren't
No
gonna let
one
her go
spoke
alone.
English.
We weren't gonna let her go alone.
Yeah, it wasn't going to happen.
And Ryan stepped up to the plate and it was just like, okay.
No one else was going to go with her. I saw it. I was like, all right, no one's going to go on this thing. I'm going to hop in. Might as well. But I wanted to go. I wanted to make sure she was safe.
So
But
anyway, fast forward. It was fast.
yeah, I mean,
hour
we
and
were
a
kind of
half,
in and
2
out.
hours later.
It was 2 hours.
2 hours later, they were
back to the
in
same
action
bar.
at the same bar, and they ran into us. We were still there, and while they were gone, a second story occurred. That
Oh
was
my God.
just I've never seen anything like this. So this is kind of a lowbrow story a little bit. There was a bottle of urine, a 2-liter bottle of urine, just sitting in the road next to us.
Which occurs
Which
when you're in
occurs
cities.
when you're in,
Yeah.
a party town, kind of like Split. Anyway, these young, let's call them rowdy, bunch of British 18-year-old guys come over, and they're clearly intoxicated. And one of the guys boots this bottle in no general direction, but it does head straight towards our table. Now, luckily, the cap was on. Wasn't a big deal, but his friends were very apologetic and kind of come over and they're like, hey, sorry for our buddy. We're like, hey, no problem. And I started just engaging him. The guy who kicked it was pretty aggressive, so I kind of engaged him a little bit and calmed him down just by, hey, where are you guys from? And you know, he totally calmed down and he talked to us a little bit. He clearly had a few drinks in him, but everything was fine. And he picked this bottle up because we were explaining to him that, you know, hey man, there's urine in that bottle. And for some reason, he did not want to believe us. And then one of the girls that we were with said, how about you drink it then? Kind of as a joke, like, haha, if you don't think it's urine, go ahead and drink it. And he was like, okay. and he unscrewed this thing, threw it back, took at least one gulp, maybe even 2 gulps, and then had just a mouthful, and he just stopped in his tracks. And there was a good 5 to 10 seconds that he was just standing there with his mouth